best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately, or it may or it may do so after 100 years. It is question of time only. There is no chance to there is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous as mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that it is no as mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So from both viewpoints, there is no case of lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be so saved for any length for time of permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires the material body according to his work, and therefore observance of religion principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutra, the living entity is qualified as in the Vedanta Sutra, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel because he is part and parcel of supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains the material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains this body. The body itself is unimportant. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. As person put on the new garments, giving up old. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Change of body by the atomic change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe Even the modern scientists who do not believe in existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have have to accept have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse. The transfer, transference of all atomic individual souls to another body is made possible by change of supersoul. Previous verse was that as the embodied soul condition, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change. Transference of the atomic individual soul is another transference of the atomic individual souls to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic souls. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eternal, eating the fruit. One of the birds is eating the fruit. The individual atomic soul. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend, watching his friend, watching. These two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by fruits, one is captivated by fruit of the material tree, while of other simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is eating bird. Although they are friends, one although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship, forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of material on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other birth as supreme spiritual master, the Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender into Krishna and for instruction. The subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all limitations. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other birth as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntarily surrender into Krishna for instruction, the subordinate birth immediately becomes free from limitation. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Svitasvatara Upanishad confirm this. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno. Nishaya shochati muhya manah. Nishaya shochati muhya manoh. Нишьяна шочати мухья монах, джуштам яда пашьяти аньям ишам, джуштам яда пашьяти аньям ишам, джуштам яда пашьяти аньям ишам, асья махи манам ити вита шоках, асья махи манам ити вита шоках. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruit of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, who is the Lord and knows his glories, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, who is the Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friends, Krishna, and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him, and thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be freed from lamentation. Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friends, Krishna, and is Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friend. Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of this old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrifice altar of in the proper battlefield, it is once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause of Arjuna's lamentation. Arjuna's lamentation. The soul can never be cut to pieces. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind, withered by the wind. All kinds of weapons, swords, flames weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, are unable to kill, unable to kill the spirit soul. And it appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, in addition to modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons. But formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Firearms were counteracted by water weapons. Firearms were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor to modern scientists have knowledge to tornado weapons. Nonetheless, to soul can never be cut into pieces, nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless the scientific devices. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance, consequently become covered by illusory energy, nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul, because they are atomic individual souls eternally Sanatana. They are prone to be covered by the illusory energy, and this they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, just as spark of a fire, although in quality with the fire and prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, the living entities are described as separated part of parcel of supreme. They are eternally to accord so they are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity. Even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity, as is evident from the teaching of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, inchangeable, immovable, and eternal, the same, the eternally the same. All these qualifications of the Adamic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally. All the qualifications, all these qualifications of the Adamic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic parcel of the spirit whole, and he remains the same Adam eternally without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case. Therefore, the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. After liberation from material contamination, the Adamic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rise of the spiritual personality of Godhead. By the intelligent, but the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the personality of Godhead. But the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planet to associate with the personality of Godhead. The word Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God creation. They live. Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, on the water, on the air, within the earth, and even within fire. They believe that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable, because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living anywhere, becomes meaningless. Meaningless. If the sun globe is inhabitants. You understand? I think you understand. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve the body. Once described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. Invisible. As far as the soul is existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti on Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul. Although it is a fact of by perception, there are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of the Father, based upon authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the Father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. In the other words, the soul is unconceivable by human experiential knowledge. The soul is conscious. The soul is consciousness unconscious. That also is that statement of this Veda, of the Veda, and we have to accept that. Unlike the body changes, there is change in the soul. There is no change in the soul. As eternally inchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison in the infinite Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is infinite maybe, and the atomic soul is infinitesimal. Therefore, the infinitesimal soul, being inchangeable, can never become equal to infinite soul of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This concept of repeated in the Vedas. This concept is repeated in Vedas in different ways, just to confirm the stability of the conception of the soul. Repetition of something is necessary in order that understand the matter without error, thoroughly, without error. However, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament or mighty armed. There is always a class philosophers almost akin to Buddhists who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When the Lord spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as Lokayatmikas and Vaibhashikas. Such philosophers maintained that mentioned such philosophers mentioned that life symptoms take place at certain nature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and material philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is a combination of physical elements. According to them, the body is combination of physical elements, and at at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by and this interaction of the physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. So, currently, many pseudo-religious now becoming fashionable in America are also adhering to this philosophy as as well as to the nihilistic non-devotional Buddhist sects. Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of soul, as in Vaibhashika philosophy, where would still have been the cause for lamentation? No one laments for loss and certain bulk of chemicals and stop discharging of pleasure duty. Of the other hand, on the other hand, in modern science is scientific warfare. So many tons to chemicals and wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhashika philosophy, the so-called soul is Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. The deterioration of the body. So in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic uh, conclusion that there is one atomic soul, or they did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament. According to this theory, since there are no many living entities degenerating out to matter every moment, and so many of them are being vanquished every moment, there is no need to grieve of such incident. If they were to reborn for the soul, Arjuna had no reason to fear or of being affected by sinful reaction due to his killing this grandfather and teacher. But at the same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna to Mahabahu, mightily armed, because he at least did not accept the theory of Vaibhashikas, which lives outside the Vedic wisdom. As Kshatriya, Arjuna belonged to the Vedic culture, and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and uh, after death one is sure to take birth again. One who uh, one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in this in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. One has to take birth according. One has to birth. One has to take birth according to one's activities of life. And after finishing one term and activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. One has to take birth according his own activities of life. And after finishing one's term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle maybe of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war, but at the same time, violence and war are in inevitable factors of human society for keeping law and order. The Battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event, and the fight for the right cause of the duty of all Kshatriya. Why should he be afraid of or aggrieved at the death of his relatives, since he was discharging his proper duty? He did not desire to break the law, therefore becoming subjected to the reactions of simple acts, and which he was to afraid. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relative, and he would be regretted due to his selection of his wrong path of action. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not able to stop the death of his relative, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. All created beings are in manifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and in manifested again with annihilated. So what need there are for limitation? Thank you very much. This may be enough because it's so long. Thank you very much.